Hello everyone. My name is Marphoria. I will be running Resident Evil Village New Game Casual Glitchless. This will be a very fun time. With me on commentary, I have Mr. Captain Ezekiel.
Hello, hello. Good luck, Mario. You're gonna kill it.
We shall see. Yeah, this is a pretty cool run. If anyone is a fan of the Resident Evil series in general, this definitely give this a try. If you're a fan of Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7, this is basically the two of those married together in a really fun and exciting game. At least I think so.
I'm inclined to agree. Very fun, very exciting. Definitely not sad at all, by the way.
Definitely not. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. So time will not start as soon as I hit the difficulty. It'll actually start. It'll start after we skip the second cutscene. There's technically two cutscenes here at the beginning, so I will let you know. All right. So usually, it's kind of funny. We usually say 3, 2, 1, go at the beginning, but all right. Anyways, hitting the difficulty, waiting a little bit. Alrighty. Skipping that. It's a shame we're skipping the cutscenes because these are really fun. All right, 3, 2, 1, and go. And we're off.
Nothing. I'll
Thank
put
you.
Her down.
So, we are playing as Mr. Ethan Winters. He is married to Mia Winters, and here's their adorable, cute daughter, Rose. This is probably the hardest part of the whole game.
Yeah, putting a baby to bed. Also the hardest part of life.
True. Man, actually, she goes to bed very nicely. So she's
the most unrealistic part of the game. You have to think about it.
Well, now we get to skip that. So in this game, we're basically skipping every single cutscene. It's a shame. In Resident Evil 7, we actually have to sit through every cutscene, which is both a good and a bad thing. But yeah. I was going to say, as we're skipping these cutscenes, we can kind of explain what's going on. So Ethan and Mia are here living in Europe, kind of recovering from events that happened in America a few years prior. But now our wife, Mia, got shot, and then our baby, Rose, got stolen. So now we're on our way to go rescue our baby.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, guys, that's a lot to happen in a very short amount of time. That's because it is. It's very confusing a little bit when you first start the game. It's like, oh, everything was cool for a few minutes, maybe a few years, and then suddenly Mia's dead, Chris is back, and he looks way different than he used to look, and now we're out in the snow.
Yeah, the person who took our baby was, yes, Mr. Chris Redfield, who's been in pretty much every single Resident Evil game since its inception. Maybe not every single one, but he's definitely been the character that's been in the most.
That's definitely true. Not enough Jill, in my opinion.
Yeah, we need more Jill in our lives. But yeah, we're traversing through the snow just to kind of get out of... So actually, our van wrecked. I totally forgot about that because we spend so much time in this game skipping all the cutscenes that sometimes we forget what happened. But yeah, our van crashed and we're in the middle of nowhere, so we're trying to seek shelter. Kind of reminiscent to the beginning of Resident Evil 7. You're kind of dumped into the middle of nowhere, surrounded just by woods and eerie atmosphere. So yeah, it's pretty slow here at the beginning. Funny enough, back over the summer, there was this strat called Snow Walk that was found where you basically tap W and it basically lets Ethan glide through the ice. But yeah, we don't do that anymore. That was actually a recent decision, which is good for everyone's hand and wrist health, rather.
Oh yeah, it was a big pain because you had to maintain a certain BPM to actually get the full benefit of the Snow Walk, which stayed about 20 to 25 seconds at its peak, but at reset once or twice and you're over it really fast. Your fingers not really liking the pressing for like a minute straight momentum.
Yeah. So yeah, thank goodness that was banned, but that's all good. We're still here. It's only 20 seconds. Yeah, now in a typical other RE fashion, you see blood and scary things, and yeah, we're heading towards the danger.
Very RE fashion, not even thinking at all about like like all the dead birds that we saw outside, maybe the big, you know, spooky wolfman we also kind of saw when we were outside. It's kind of strange. We don't care. Ethan's way too cool.
What's actually interesting is, like, I'm trying to remember, like, yeah, whose house this even was. Or if Ethan's like, yeah, let's just go into the first house we see.
Yeah, you know,
no
often
issue.
we talk about all the breaking and entering Ethan does during this game. It's kind of like appalling. He just goes into like everyone's house.
I mean, that's pretty typical in most games, though. Like, I immediately think of like Pokemon and Zelda and stuff like that.
Yeah, fair.
You just go, especially in Pokemon, you go into people's houses and you look in the trash.
All these games are trying to like teach us to do something. I'm just not quite sure what it is yet, but like so many games you just break and enter every house.
Alrighty, so just like in RE7, we have retries coming upon our first one right here. We wait for that autosave in the top left corner, and so at least this particular retry kind of teleports you a little bit forward, but some of the other ones, yeah, I guess Z can probably explain that better than I can.
Yeah, so like the retries are different in like this game versus 7. In 7 we have them some for moving Ethan, some for making him faster. That doesn't really apply in this game, but the movement is the biggest selling point. So Mar retried up there to teleport Ethan forward, and because of the way we timed the run, which is an LRT load remover, it's like built in everyone to retry, which still cuts even on like, you know, RTA times. But she'll do this like a handful of times, some to also manipulate the AI of enemies, which is unique to 8 that 7 doesn't do, where we're going to retry to kind of teleport enemies around in like a place like the factory later when you see it. But most of it you'll see it's just to bump Ethan forward or to skip an animation.
So we came upon this old man's house. He gave us a gun, which is really nice, but then we encounter a Lycan that we just kind of juke around, and then we pick up Resident Evil's favorite asset in the whole world, aka the bolt cutters, because every single RE game since 7 had to have bolt cutters in them, which is fantastic.
And it's not just any bolt cutters, it is those bolt cutters.
Well, I mean, I think I feel like the color changed in one of those games, but hey, I'm all about folks reusing assets and saving time, because shoot, if you have it, use it.
Yeah.
All right, now we get our actual first Lycan encounter.
Yeah, this guy is, you need to kill him to get out of this house. He takes about 10 body shots to kill. Lucky RNG there, got an herb on the and that's really nice.
Yeah, that is, so the drops on pretty much the drops on all the Lycans are RNG. They'll either drop money, herbs, or scrap, maybe something else that I'm not thinking of. But also, most fun part of the game right here.
Oh, very exciting. Hug Simulator.
Hug City. Yeah, Zeke, you know that you could explain this way better than I could, so have at it.
All right, so this is the Lycan Siege. The Lycan Siege is probably the most complex part of the game in terms of like how long it took us to figure out what's going on here. But basically, this is a timed event that has a whole bunch of Lycans here, and you're probably wondering like, is this Mara's first time playing? She's getting hit a whole bunch right now. Like she's not even trying to kill the guys, right? No, basically what this game has that other RE games have, most of them anyways, is called DA, or difficulty adjustment. The way this works is Mar is tricking the game basically into bringing a score value down that we can't see without the help of tools. That's telling the game that Mar doesn't know what she's doing, so make the game easier. So they're going to bring the difficulty down as much as Mar takes damage and heals herself, because using healing items, taking damage, bring your DA down. However, on the opposite side of that, hitting enemies, killing enemies brings it up. So that's basically what this whole section is about. Mar's taking a whole bunch of hits. She's going to craft some heals. She's going to bring her health down, because we want to be at around as close to DA pure 0 as we possibly can, which is like the lowest possible way we could get out of this. Otherwise, being at about 200, 300 DA, which is still rank 0, is totally fine. This is so that boss fights later in the run are easier. You'll see Lady Dimitrescu and Mural, all that fun stuff. But this whole section was actually found out on accident that DA was such a big player in this when it was first being routed, where Catlink, shouts to Catlink, another runner, actually we and her were routing the game, and she was having a much easier time later in the game while I was struggling at the beginning. And we discovered that is because she sat here and took a whole bunch of hits and her DA just tanked. And it changed the way we routed the game pretty significantly, actually. But as you see, Mar just waited for Urias to spawn, big Hagrid-looking guy. And she's gonna wait for Hagrid to roar before she goes into a building. This saves time and skips a good chunk of the siege from happening. So now it's basically just a timer. She's gonna run around, take more bites, craft some heals until the whole section actually ends, where she's gonna stand outside and take an arrow to the knee.
True, legit arrow to the knee. We're not joking on that. Oh, excuse me, sirs. All right. So yeah, we're gonna take a little bit more damage, but before that, we're gonna grab our shotgun, very important weapon for a short while. You would think we keep it the whole game, but unfortunately we will not. But yeah, we'll be picking up that. I'll pick up a little gunpowder for a little bit later. It's gonna be used to craft a mine a little bit later, pipe bomb later. Alrighty, but yeah, a couple more hugs while we can. We actually do use a tool called the SRT. It was actually developed by a very handful of talented folks in our community that helps us track the DA and enemy health. So yeah, I kind of have that up to the side just to keep an eye on mainly the DA. This is really the only part of the game where you do pay attention to that. Let's see. Yeah, so we want to get our DA score as close to 0 as possible. Mine right now is at about 200. And how much, yeah, Zeke, when you heal, does it add like, what is it, like 100? Like minus 100?
It depends on how much health you're missing, I believe, but I think it's a minimum 150 or something like that. So I think you'll be very, very good on DA after this, just based on what you've said.
Yeah.
As long as your eyes doesn't frag out, because not only is it killing things raises your DA, if Urias decides to go like frag out on kids, he'll start killing a whole bunch of Lycans swinging around, and you will gain DA for it.
Yeah, it's not very fun when he just starts killing people for you, which, I mean, when you're playing the game casually, you're like, oh, hey, thanks, he's killing people for us. But then when you're running this game trying to get your DA score down, you're like, wait, no, that's not what we want.
It seemed like it went really well, though. It looks like you probably got a little bunch of DA down.
Yeah, so my DA is at 35, which, that's fine. That's fine.
That's really good. Yeah, that's like that's cool. And it seems like, if you're wondering how hard that is, it's risky is mostly what it is. Because if you're not paying attention to everything that you're doing and you're not watching where you're going or where Urias is, you could die there very easily because you're literally letting yourself get down to danger levels of health. And with that part of the game, if you get below 15% and you take a hit, you will die. Because your eyes will spawn and do an animation on top of you, and he will curb stomp you, basically.
Mm-hmm. So we have made it to the village. Oh, hey, this game is called Resident Evil Village. Yes, we are in the village. Oh, goodness, I can't remember this woman's name. Lucia? Yeah, Louisa? Yeah. So right now we're kind of waiting to, we met a couple of the villagers. And, we're taking refuge in her house at the moment. We're just kind of waiting around. She's just going to be nice and hospitable. Through the curtain here, there's a few more residents kind of talking about the Lycans and, oh, Mother Miranda's going to save us and everything. But, oh no, the house is on fire. Oh no.
I think we missed something.
Yeah, now we got to get out of here because everything's on fire. Ooh, do you want to explain the little pause while picking up items thing?
Yeah, so in this game, when you're opening up certain cabinets and certain items and drawers, items that you need are in there, you actually are forced to wait about 1 second to 2 seconds till you're actually able to pick it up and interact with it. We discovered that if you pause, it kind of skips this, and you can unpause and interact with it instantly if you wait out that time in the pause menu. So that's something you'll see Mar do a handful of times, like you just saw with that key. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, so if you see me pause at a certain time, it's only at a few things, like at a few I was gonna say it's at a couple drawers and I want to say not items, chests, I guess you want to call them, like the tiny little chests.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, things of that nature. So we collected 2 crests. So there was a maiden crest and a demon crest that we collected because those are the keys to this door up here, and this door leads to the castle. So yeah, we collected those 2. Now we're on our way there. Funny thing about these crests is that it's kind of RNG where that crest kind of initially lays. So sometimes it'll be really close to the part it needs to connect to, or it'll be really far. So no one can, you won't know until you get there.
when we were first testing this out in the demo, we were speedrunning the demo to figure out, because we were so like thirsty for this game forever, and so we were grinding this specific part of the demo out like 100 times, and we wanted so hard to believe that those were not RNG because we knew how annoying it would be in runs when you just get the worst crest RNG and you have to sit there and be sad while you turn it the whole 180 degrees basically.
Yeah.
But I think there's just way too much evidence that supports them being random than anything else.
True. Oh, so we are temporarily captured. We got captured by Heisenberg. We got brought before the 4 lords here, but we got to skip that unfortunately because now we're on the run. But we will see more of those 4 lords a little bit later. And yes, one of those 4 lords is the amazing and wonderful Lady Dimitrescu. So, but yeah. You get to see all of them right then and there. They kind of taunt Ethan and everything like that. Oh hey, there's Urias again. Goodbye, Urias.
We might see him again later.
We might. 1 or 2 times.
Maybe a couple times. I will mention though the sad part about skipping these cutscenes is that introduction to the Lords cutscene is by far one of the greatest video game cutscenes I've ever seen in my life in terms of like the voice acting and the way the characters are introduced is actually so amazing, and it's very reminiscent of like when we first saw the Welcome to the Family cutscene in Resident Evil 7. Very similar vibes.
Yeah.
But it's a shame we have to skip it in this one because it's like super cool.
Yeah. Just because each of the 4 lords are so different. And I guess we could explain a little bit about the 4 lords while we're here, because the Duke, aka the Merchant, he will explain a little bit later, but essentially each of the 4 lords has a section in this game, and they also have basically a key item for us at the end of each of their sections. So the first one we'll be coming upon is the castle, which I know is pretty iconic in this game. It was probably the part that was marketed the most before this game came out. So yeah, we have to obtain very important items at each of the Lord's places.
Very, very important items. The castle is by far, I think, some of the most girth of the game is the castle, because there's just simply how much is in there. You got big tall vampire mommy, and you got the 3 daughters, and it's basically Lady Dimitrescu, Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in here, and this, like, Capcom put a lot of effort and a lot of focus into this part of the game. You could just simply tell by how, first of all, how the castle looks. Just at all, it looks like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of like a design standpoint, and like all the enemies, everything's super well done here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely like the best environment design in this game, I believe. And I'd say, yeah, it's a pretty lengthy section, I would say, compared to the other ones. Mm-hmm. We actually get introduced to those 3 lovely daughters here, but we do have to skip that. And all of a sudden, oh no, we are hung on some hooks. Yeah, the daughters and Lady D kind of took us captive because they want to drain us, or they want to eat us. That's right, they want to eat us. That's right.
Ethan does look tasty.
He
Except
does.
for his hands. If you think if you're looking at this, and this is the first time you've seen this, and you're seeing Ethan's hands, you're like, wow, that's the worst thing I've ever seen happen to someone's hands. Do not fret. It's going to get much worse. Like, throughout the game, Capcom hates Ethan's hands.
They do.
And as you can see, he's missing 2 fingers. We skipped that cutscene earlier. That was the first thing that happened to his hands,
yeah.
and now he got impaled.
Yeah. All right, skip that.
That's another retry there to skip the ending of that animation, so that we can just get right closer to this fireplace as well. And you also saw, and one thing I guess we should touch on is Mar's not skipping certain cutscenes instantly, because the game will load in faster to where you need to be if you wait a second before skipping a cutscene. Because Village hides load times kind of everywhere throughout the game, the most notably in elevators and stuff. But that's why we do that, is so that we can get control of Ethan much faster out of the cutscene.
Yeah, quite gnarly. Alrighty. So interesting enough. Actually, I was gonna say there was like a treasure hidden over there. I used to pick up all the treasures and stuff here. So in this specific route here, Yeah, we do have to pick up a certain amount of bullets, certain amount of treasures and things of that nature. But for the most part, we are going to be going through this game with the bare amount of things possible because we are not going to upgrade our case. We're not going to get any of the really cool, powerful guns, except maybe the grenade launcher, I'd say. Yeah. Oops, sorry. Another retry.
Yeah, this one seems a landing animation. It teleports you to the top of the stairs. This is actually one where we found, this is the first retry that we found when we were playing the demo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there were 2 demos to this game. There was the village demo and the castle demo, both which were released a couple weeks apart, I believe.
Yep.
And actually, that doesn't count the Maiden demo, which was PS5 exclusive. But yeah, interesting enough, like both the village and the castle demo, they were just, kind of taken right out of this game. So yeah, when I guess it was for the castle demo, yeah, that's when we figured that out with that retry there. Now we're
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say we're on our way through a creepy dungeon of sorts with all these weird enemies, just kind of juking our way out of here. All the enemies are actually ladies in this entire castle. They are all ladies. They weren't lying when they said there were no men here, and they haven't seen a man in a while and all that sort of stuff. So, women-owned castle.
Yeah, it's a nice castle.
Yeah.
And now we got the first daughter. This is Bella.
Hardest boss
don't
fight.
Blink. Yeah, and she's gone. That was insane. She dies so fast on this difficulty with the mines. One thing that's important in like the casual difficulty and why it's so fast is the mines and pipes in every difficulty are very overpowered. They do an insane amount of damage. The mines are probably the most broken item in the game, if I had to say. Because they do 3,000 or a little over 3,000 damage on DA0 for a casual, and they don't damage Ethan, so he can just drop that underneath his feet all the time at boss fights and stuff that he just saw with Bella, and kill stuff basically instantly. So you'll see a lot of utilization of those and pipe bombs throughout this run because they're just so strong.
Pipe bombs will knock Ethan back though and do damage to him, so that's why the mines are probably the most important thing to utilize here. And also, yeah, you'll see with the daughters as well that, their weakness is the cold, so that was one reason we were also able to kill the first daughter so quickly, was because that's actually, since that was the first boss fight, I think that window was busted for you, I believe. So then you just kind of have to do damage to her and then she'll die. Or actually, wait, no. Man, it's been so long since I played it casually. Was the window already open?
So the window, there's a cutscene that we skip. Basically, Ethan shoots past the daughter because she couldn't take the bullet, and it went right through the window, and that's what exposed her body, because they're covered in, I think, like bot flies or something similar. Yeah. That basically don't like the cold, and the flies will go away when the cold touches them. Yeah, so that's an important thing to remember for these boss fights. Each of those boss fights will kind of utilize that. Well, yeah, that first one, they kind of give it to you for free with that window already being busted. But with the other 2 daughters, you kind of have to figure out on your own, like, oh, hey, how do I expose their weakness? All right, another retry that teleports you a little bit. We are in a very bloody wine cellar, very eerie. Essentially amazing. It's wine, not blood, no problem.
It is wine. Someone spilled their wine. Oh no, what a waste.
It's a lot of wine. I think that's like an alarming amount of wine.
Yeah. Oops, come on. So there are going to be a couple parts in this game where we swap to 30 FPS to get by enemies a little quicker. For these ones, you can see that we're literally walking right through these enemies. This last one, I kind of delay that shot so it doesn't get us, because a lot of the times it will tag you. But yeah, since we're running pretty much all the PC categories, you run at 120. You have to have your fixed FPS at 120. Even like, oh goodness, I feel like even on variable, this game on variable, I feel like broke my OBS, so I had to lock it to 120.
Oh yeah, big same. I remember casual playthroughs, we all had to start locking it because there were like parts of the game that would just destroy your computers, like GPU and CPU usage. It was like very intense.
Go ahead, do your worst.
So interesting thing with this game. So you probably saw there with the key, you can stand pretty far away when interacting with pretty much a lot of objects. That kind of carried over from RE7, something we call max distance interactions. And it was really cool because, you know, I ran 7, Zeke here ran 7, pretty much all of our friends. We came over from 7, and there's a lot of things that carried over, such as that, or like, you know, lighting Ethan up with animations and things like that. Pretty cool.
You will learn what it means.
Yeah, Mark's gonna try to juke Lady D here because she's standing in the way of our hand. He lost a hand again, by the way.
Yeah, she cut off her whole hand.
The whole hand. Ethan just doesn't care. But the idea here is we're kind of baiting her around and forcing her to hit so that we can get some time to get around here because we have to wait for this gate to open. And getting hit by Lady D here automatically puts you in danger, which is 300 health or less. And it makes this whole section way slower. And you can die to her here. But on casual, she's a bit slower. However, on the difficulty like Village of Shadows, it changes tremendously. She's very fast, and there are also enemies around. But in this one, she's a little bit slower.
All right, check out this though. This is probably like the best little cut. You can't skip this cutscene, but you should. This is the best. This is the best part of the whole game. Magic juice, hand, and it reattaches his jacket too.
Well, the fashion industry is just in shambles right now because Ethan figured out how to fix clothes with liquid.
Yeah, look at that. It's perfect. No, just but it is but a scratch.
Just this actually seamless like attachment of the jacket, and it's just so bananas that Capcom was just totally expecting us to just buy that happens.
Alrighty, so yeah, we're actually as we said earlier, this castle, the level design, environment design is beautiful. Not just that, there's like multiple parts to it. So we're actually at another part of the castle at the moment, or actually, you know, it's just they're all kind of attached. We're just hang on.
Yeah, Moonlight Sonata. But that's a different game.
That's right. But yeah, we're in another part of the castle. It eventually all kind of connects together, but yeah, just really cool. We were in that courtyard, sadly, for just a couple seconds. Alrighty, so we're gonna say hi to our lovely lady yet again, but we're barely gonna see her, unfortunately.
So we finally.
But we will say hi to another daughter right here in a second. So remember when we said we have to find their weakness pretty much right away? That is right here.
This one's a bit more straightforward. I mean, no, they're all straightforward, I guess, but just pumping about 5 shotgun shots into Daniela here will kill her. Actually, so if you're wondering, the order of the daughters can be done in 2 different ways. You could do, you know, Bella, Daniela, then Cassandra, or Bella, Cassandra, then Daniela. We discovered it was faster to do it this way. But normally when we were first writing the game, we actually did Cassandra first for a bit of time until we realized that of a little skip we're going to do here. So she shoots all the bells, which starts an animation to open up that door, and it takes way too long. So we're actually just going to bolt it straight to Cassandra while we wait for that door to open. It saves us about a handful of seconds, about 5 to 6 seconds. And we're going to run over here while Lady T is yelling at Cassandra. We're going to go in here, grab some stuff, and start her boss fight, which is probably, I guess you would say, the hardest of the 3 witches, even though they're all pretty straightforward, because we actually have to use pipe bombs to blow a hole in the wall.
I was worried my sisters had gotten.
You can explain, yeah, that's fine. Oops,
Yeah.
Sorry, this is where I do my menuing and shortcut stuff here.
Yeah, the menuing in this game is actually much more difficult than it appears because of how the control scheme works. But she basically rebound her knife and threw the pipe bomb to blow up the hole in the wall, and then Cassandra's exposed, and she'll die pretty easily. And after Mar does that, she's going to run and grab this key item and a couple other pipe bombs that are on the desk next to her. But the way that Mar just did her inventorying was actually incredibly crucial to the remainder of the run, because the way the game auto sorts your inventory is it just kind of moves stuff that it thinks needs to be in the next available slot. But items don't auto adjust if you're picking up an item. Like, say you do have room for something, like she's going to go for the sniper rifle soon, but an item maybe needs to be moved up for it to fit in. The game won't do that for you. It'll instead open up a window and force you to do it. So she did that organization there, removed the knife because we're not actually going to use it, so that she can actually pick up the item she needs throughout the run without having to go into her inventory and move stuff, which loses a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, and I certainly found that it's certainly better to go and do that type of menuing when you're already about to do something anyways. Like everyone kind of menus, like at least for their hotkeys, I would assume. I think most people just kind of do what's comfortable for them. But for me, I like having my sniper down at key 4 and the pipe bombs at number 1 and things like that. So since I was gonna use pipe bombs anyways, I might as well just like. Or rather, since I wanted to put those pipe bombs at a specific spot, I just went ahead and I moved my shotgun and all that stuff too. Because if you don't move your shotgun or kind of like set up your box how you need to, the game is going to make you like rearrange your inventory when you pick up this sniper, and it's such a pain.
Definitely, and it's one thing I will give. There's a lot of difference between Village and 7. One thing a lot of 7 runners do feel is 7 has actually a very good inventory system where you don't, when you open the inventory in 7, the game doesn't pause. But in this game, the game pauses, and the interactions are a little bit more delayed in the inventory in this one because the game wants you to be very sure you know where you're moving stuff. And so like when you're moving, confirming, it'll ask all the time, like, are you sure you want to do this? It's like, yep, I've done it 4 times now, like, come on. But it basically will keep asking you if you want to do something, and picking it up with the keybinds that it comes with the game also are a little weird because you have to use like shift to pick stuff up. It's very strange.
I feel like not just that too, it's like you always have to confirm like leaving your inventory, which is weird because I feel like in 7 we just hit tab and to move stuff, then we hit tab again or something, and the game doesn't ask us anything, it just does it. This game has to ask your permission all the time. All right, I'm definitely not going to get this juke. I'm sure I'm not going to.
Stupid man thing. You won't
Nope, I didn't. It's okay.
Yeah, that juke is a real big pain. And Lady D has very big hitboxes, you could say, right here, where she kind of loves to get in the way. And getting around her can be like a big pain. That's why Mars switched to 30 FPS to kind of clip Ethan's model around her. That juke is really hard because you have to pull her to the side in the middle of her attack swing and go to the other side before it finishes. And it's really, really annoyingly difficult. I mean, getting around her regardless is good. So as long as you're not super stuck behind her and her voluptuous hitboxes, if you will, then you're all good to go.
Yeah. So we put in all 4 of our masks, which were our keys to get out of here. But we actually can go here to skip this cutscene, and the door will already be open here. Very, very nice. Alrighty. Now we're on our way to, we're almost out of the castle. Well, we are obviously out of the castle now, but we can't leave our beautiful castle without a lovely boss fight. We're going to get that after we pick up our Valyrian steel dagger here, right from Game of Thrones. And let's go. Zeke, it's all you.
All right, this is Lady D. So you just saw she's a big dragon now, and when Mars started the fight, she took a shot at her weak point, which is her Lady D's actual body on top of the dragon. Just a free shot you get, and it speeds up the next part of this fight. So what Mars is going to do is let Lady D walk around, because this is a big scripted fight, and Mars is going to put herself in front of her and let a couple shots go into her weak spot here while she's in the middle of this animation, so that she doesn't lose time to like the stagger. And what she's done now is she's not going to have to shoot her anymore. She got Lady down below the % threshold she needs for her to transition to the next part of the fight. So shooting her right now does nothing but waste ammo. So she's going to chill here, wait for Lady D to charge through this pillar, and then she's going to wrap around behind her. The reason she has her pipe bombs out is because she's going to drop 2 pipe bombs on Lady D as she takes flight, which is when her health is going to reset for phase 2, basically dropping her by a whole bunch of health, about 6,000. She shoots her once she's at 0 HP or 1 HP. One more shot when she's in the air will pull her out of this phase, and then we move into phase 2. Lady D is going to do a voice line here that's scripted, and then she's actually going to die without us doing anything because we have her already at the health she needs to be at. So now this part's going to start. Mar's going to skip a cutscene and let one shot rip into Lady D. The reason for that is to bring her health below 3,000 because she's going to reset back to 3,000 no matter what, but she starts at 35. So we're going to wait while she flies around. Mar's going to dump some ammo to free up some inventory slots for the handgun ammo, because 30 is the maximum stack you can have for a handgun. After this voice line, Lady's going to bust through and land, and we're going to wait for another little mini cutscene to play And when Lady D says morsel, Mara's gonna let a shot rip into her and a couple more with the shotgun to kill her, basically.
Ah,
Just
two
like
shots,
that.
nice.
You got the 2 shot. You can get that in 2 or 3 shots, but the shotgun has a spread, so you have to be really good with how tight you're having the shot. And Mara is a god gamer and pulled it off. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, great explanation there. So we picked up our beautiful crystal Demetress statue, which unfortunately we cannot keep or put on display, which I know every single one of us would, but we will have to trade that for money once we go to the Duke a little bit later. We also picked up our very first flask, which was the head flask, and well, Ethan here doesn't really know what that is. He's going to go to the Duke to kind of, ask what the heck this is. We know what it is. That head belongs to Rose, his daughter. So when I said that each of the lords has a key item at the end of each of their sections, it's a piece of Rose. And it's not really like her whole head or her whole body or anything in there. It's just, I think it's just something magic related. I don't know. The concept of her head and legs
like
and
the
arms
essence of her head or something. I'm not quite sure, because it doesn't make sense. You've seen Rose; she won't fit into those flasks. There's no way.
Yeah. Alrighty, but yes, we have now officially left the castle. I was gonna say you can't come back, but you technically can. There's like some treasures and stuff down there that you eventually can get, because the Duke gives you a treasure map. But for our speed run, we are not going back. That is the end of the castle, the end of the daughters, Lady D, all of that. So, rest in spaghetti.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Lycans spawning around here. The game kind of anticipated you would just fight them, but I think almost everyone, like when I was playing this at least, I was like, I don't have to touch these guys at all. I'm out of here.
No.
You run right through this door. It skips that whole area. We're not quite sure why they even spawn, because the game doesn't even direct you to fight them.
I actually tried to fight every single one of them, and then they kept spawning. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. So while that door is unlocking, we're going to go ahead and stick our first flask right in here, just to kind of get this cutscene out of the way, and the door unlocks while this happens. So I guess it, I guess it doesn't really matter when you put that in, but since we're already here, might as well.
Yeah, that was actually an optimized time save we implemented because of the fast door thing that could happen. But you also saw Mars shoot something you probably can't even see on the screen there. She shot a lock on the outside of that door, which is one of the a very sneaky skip. I'm not sure it was meant to be there, but I suppose it was. By doing that, when Mar goes through and grabs all these items she needs to get through, she's going to be able to skip a door, a big armored boy, a whole bunch of enemies just by going through that door that she opened up, and as well includes a pipe bomb for her for free. So it's kind of OP that it even exists, but she got it in one shot, which is actually harder to do than it seems because you can't see the damn thing.
Sorry, I think a lot when I do puzzles. Bye.
Yeah, that pause there, there's another iteration of like the waiting for items to spawn, and it actually makes that part easier because if you wait for the items to spawn, you'll accidentally pick up the M1911, and that really messes things up.
Yeah, so there's another gun there, which is of course way better than our default Lemmy handgun here. But yeah, like Zeke said, well, we did talk about earlier how your inventory just kind of does its own thing. But yeah, we also have our default small, our small box attached case, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, when we pick up that gun with our current case, it opens up your inventory. It tries to make you rearrange it, then you have to close out, and it just it's a big pain.
Yeah, definitely shame, because that gun is really good. It shoots like 7 shots really fast, and it makes your life way easier. But unfortunately, we don't got time for that.
I did not mean to shoot. Don't worry. That wasn't like a intentional skip or anything like that.
Damn it. Better see the Duke.
Very interesting bug about picking up that key is that your ammo flashes to 0 when you pick up that key. So I always used to think I was out of ammo when I pick up that key and look, but it's just an actual visual bug.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until now. I was like, 0? What?
How was it?
So interesting thing with this Duke encounter, this is where he gives you that treasure map, but wait. Oh no, I restarted my game. I was like, I was going to talk about the skip that you do here with that treasure map, but I forgot I restarted my game and I didn't load that save. So what would have happened if I I guess the quick and easy way to say it is like if you load up a save, you know, where you're close enough to like before you encounter that Duke, you can interact with him to get that cutscene and bring up that map, and then you can just quit out because I guess it like preloads it and stuff. Because the next time you come back, you can just skip. You can just kind of skip that whole little map thing, and it saves about 5 seconds. But yeah. I did that earlier when I was practicing, and then I had to quit out just to reset something, and yeah, I totally forgot to load that map again.
It's very strange, but we actually like struggled for a while to figure out what the heck's going on with that thing. I believe it was Spicy, who is the multi-record holder for this game, learned that if you anytime you'd start up the game, the first time you do the map, it just would load forever. It'd take forever. You can't do the skip. We thought you had to mash. Like I was beating up my keyboard trying to mash that thing, but it figured out it was just a memory thing. And it's actually a very strange mechanic that we're not quite sure why it even exists. Only for that item.
Everyone leaves me.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, I'm just sitting here like, you know, pressing my my right click button, just like endless. Is like, come on. But no, you just load a save with that map, and then you know, it just stays there in the game essentially. And then when you do another run, you know, it'll the map will go away quicker. Alrighty, so we are on our way to the second area. We are on our way to the Beneviento house. And interesting enough, you notice that, you know, we saw a couple hallucinations of Mia and Rose. And what actually has happened, Ethan has come upon some kind of special flowers that are making him hallucinate, which will come into play here in a little bit. And not just that, we are actually on our first encounter of these elevator loads. So essentially, yeah, Zeke, you can explain.
Yeah, so Capcom thought they were sneaky with their optimization of the game where they're like, let's hide loading times in elevators so people don't have loading screens. And consoles don't have that issue like they had in 7 where the screen would go black to load certain areas. They instead hid them in these elevators. So you see Mark pausing so that we catch them. We can see it happen sometimes where the visual textures just change slightly. We know a loading has started, so we'll pause to let it load so it doesn't affect our time. And then we go back in, and it happens a couple times with elevators. It is pretty silly, but it I guess works out in the end because we can pause.
So I'm going to try and do something as I go into the house here. You can get a little speed boost here by doing a particular movement. I did not get it, unfortunately. It's kind of hard to gauge. Essentially, you step into the house like at a certain point. Usually that visual cue for me is like either that basket or the end of that table, and then like the first step out of the door. But yeah, it's a little wonky for me. Sometimes I can get it, sometimes I can't. It saves about 5 seconds as well if you do get it. Ethan just kind of glides through to this elevator, like, because right now Ethan's movement speed is severely less than it was before. But yeah, so how consistent are you with that, Zeke?
Geez, not like as much as I'd love to be. I mean, like I would say it's one of those things where you mess it up, you're like, I want to try to get it again, but then you're already dipping into the time save you would again got had you done it the first time. So it's rough, like, because you have to step out of the house, and like the moment Ethan gets speed back, you have to get back into the house. It's a very strange time save, and honestly very annoying. To like have to do, but it's actually not that significant because you're only fast for like a couple seconds. It doesn't let you keep it the whole time, which would have been really cool, but it's only about a 4-second time save at most.
Yeah. So
What?
we are here in the Beneviento house, and we just met Angie. Angie is Donna Beneviento's beloved doll. You saw that she was holding one of the flasks that we need, but she kind of disappeared with it. And not just that, she disappeared with our entire inventory, our guns, our crafting items, literally everything. So now we have to get on out of here and retrieve our stuff.
Yeah, you might be wondering, she's a really small doll. How did she pick up our guns? The big sniper, which is like the size of like 5 Angies. I don't know, man. It's super weird. But this whole area was this. We all love Beneviento House casually. At least I did. I don't want to speak for like Mar or anything, but this area was like, Capcom was like, you want more puzzles? We'll give you a whole house of puzzles. This whole place is one big escape room. And I love escape rooms, so I fell in love with this whole area, and it's really spooky too.
Yeah, I'd say this is definitely the scariest part in the entire game. And yeah, like what Zeke said, very escape room-esque, which reminds me of the birthday puzzle from RE7, where, you're not just, constantly fighting things and all that sort of stuff. You're just, the pace slows down a little bit, kind of reminds you, hey, this is a horror game. Let's, up the horror a little bit. But yeah, before we can kind of progress forward, we have some key items here in this mannequin, which is actually the most unforgiving thing in this entire game, because when you do a wrong interaction or you select the wrong thing, you lose 10 seconds because for some reason, a piece of text pops up and then Ethan is just staring at the item, and it literally takes 10 seconds for that whole thing to resolve. So you always want to make sure you select and do the right things, which, for all of us who ran 7, it was kind of a little jarring because, it's only like a 3-second time loss, 2 to 3 second time loss if you use the wrong item in 7. But in this game, yeah, it's legit like 10 seconds, and it's the worst feeling.
Yeah, it's really, Capcom really wanted us to sit there and think about what we've done when we make a mistake. When we were like speedrunning this, like when it first released, oh my god, was that like the biggest hang up for a lot of stuff. And is the mismenuing, misinventorying something, dropping something in the wrong spot. Even this cutscene that you're watching right now, where Mara's watching this, if you put the wrong item in, it tries to play the video, and then it thinks for about 5 seconds, says, I think you messed up, and then it lets you do it again. It's
yeah,
brutal.
Yeah, very, very silly, but thanks, Capcom. Yeah, so remember this path we're going through. We're gonna have to come through here yet again when something quite gnarly pops up.
That's a very nice way to put it, actually. It's gnarly. It's very light.
It is gnarly.
It is much more. It's worse than gnarly. This part of the game, if you haven't played it, you're gonna love it, actually. But if you haven't played it, you know what we're talking about.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, we won't get the full impact of this area until a little bit later. But yeah, I will say on first playthrough, I was absolutely terrified. I was not expecting what happened.
Yeah, it's super great, especially since like the whole tone of the game hasn't been as scary as it's been very suspenseful, like when you're casually playing up to this point, and then this is like a very sharp turn of like the atmosphere of the game, and it's super cool. But on a casual playthrough, it was absolutely terrifying. Yeah,
absolutely was. Yeah, so we just got our breaker box key because, as you see, the lights went out, so we have to turn the lights on, get out of here, etc. But now you hear a baby crying. Is that our baby? I mean, Rose? We have a baby. Babies cry. Rose cries, I guess. So I guess
has to be Rose, right? Who else could it be? There's no other babies in this game.
Oh god, lights are red. There's umbilical cord. Oh no. Oh no. Alrighty, so we're gonna trigger the scary baby. It's a normal sized baby. We won't see until later. But yeah, sorry, we have to book it. We can't introduce you fully to the baby just yet.
Oh, yeah, you'll get a view of him soon. Don't you worry. But the baby is Mara's actually on a timer here. This route that she's taking, if she's too slow, she will eventually get cut off by the baby. And that is not good. We do not want that. So she has to route all the way around and get back to where she was before the baby gets there, which with this route is like not too crazy difficult. But anytime like that small interaction just then was not intentional. If you spend too much time out here, the baby is actually about at this point at the door that's on the other side of the hall where Mara is right now, and it just broke through. But you have enough time to get through this door, but as you can hear, it's right behind her. If you make any more mistakes than what had happened, she could have died to the baby.
Hey, the lights are on here. There's a fuse. Guess what happens? The lights go out. Alrighty.
Baby Skip, you got this.
Baby Skip, we do got this.
You're an expert now.
What? Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Thank you. That was slow.
Right.
That was slow, but goodness.
You made it through. Easy peasy. That right there is called the baby skip. That's a skip that was found. There's been so many different iterations of that skip, but that is the biggest skip of this whole area is that skip, because if you get touched by the baby when it's roaming, you'll die instantly. Ethan will get eaten. But the first was found by Ross Rossi, which was like the first skip, which is like standing in the doorway, but there's been a lot of different changes to it. But right there is one of the most current iterations of it.
Oh no! Oh god!
It's over, you're dead.
If anyone remembers Chumbawamba from the 90s, this looks like the baby on the cover, kinda. Kinda. But yeah, this is... Seeing that baby for the very first time, oh my god, my heart literally stopped. Because, you know, you expect, you know, kind of weird, spooky monsters in the Resident Evil universe, right? Like, there's nothing that's unheard of or anything. But I was not expecting a PT baby or anything of that sort. Like, goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be one of the most grotesque monsters in Resident Evil history. Like, in just terms of, like, disturbing appearance, baby gets pretty high up there next to, like, Marguerite.
Oh yeah, yeah. Marguerite's certainly up there too. But yeah, I was not expecting that baby. But yeah, like Zeke said, there's a ton of different ways to skip that baby downstairs. Yeah, like the way I did it is quote unquote like the intermediate way. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways. Some people swap their FPS to 30, etc. But oh, also, here's Angie. Say hello to Angie. She's a creepy possessed doll. And all these other dolls are they're shaking and looking at you and stuff. So right now, it's kind of like a hide and seek thing with Angie here. We have to go find her. Her location is actually RNG. So she would be at this spot, or she's gonna be back here. She'll always be at like 2 different spots. So this right here is not typically the good RNG for her second spawn here. We'll see where she spawns at the 3rd spot. Let's see. So she'll either be at the right up here at the foyer, or she'll be to the left near the elevator, and she's a bad RNG. She's all the way by the elevator.
It's marathon luck. That's Angie for you. She's a big run killer, because this RNG is kind of brutal, because you'll lose like 10 seconds or 12 seconds to this, and it is very not fun when it happens. We can use sometimes directional audio from our headphones to tell where she goes, except when you get the unfortunate first bad RNG spawn, because then you can't actually hear which direction she goes. And it kind of sucks, but that's definitely unlucky. But it turns out that wasn't Angie.
It was actually Miss Donna Beneviento, which unfortunately we don't get to see or hear too much of her. But yeah, she was, she was the lord of this house. She was a very quiet lady, but she loved her dolls. She basically talked through Angie. Like that was pretty much the only way we heard her. But yeah, honestly, in terms of like all the different lords, we don't know as much about Donna as much as everyone else. And of course, she has less screen time. So she's kind of like one of those elusive characters. We can't help but wonder or want to know more about her.
There, with Donna, there's like a little bit of lore splash throughout about her. But a lot of it points to Donna actually being not malicious at all. Donna actually like isn't evil, quote unquote. That's what the hallucinogens and stuff that you see, like the flowers Mara talked about earlier. She would use those on villagers to let them see like dead relatives and stuff, and to like talk to them and all that fun stuff. She would do like kind things, but there's like a lot of gray areas about Angie. And like, if Angie's an extension of Donna, why is Angie so not nice? You know, so there's a lot of confusion there. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so also interesting thing about those hallucinogen flowers out here. So a bit of interesting lore that I read was that like Ethan hallucinates, like he imagines the baby. So he doesn't really die from the baby when he gets eaten, but he like essentially dies of a heart attack and stuff because he thinks it's real or something. Oh god, did I pick that up? Okay, I did. Sometimes like that pickup can throw me off a little bit because it's so quick, and sometimes I can't hear the mine getting picked up. So I double checked there for safety because I did not want to come to the Mural boss fight without that 3rd mine.
That's a very good point. I mean, I made that mistake and I didn't have it. Very tragic when you get to that point.
Yeah, So there was a more powerful shotgun there. We used to use that when we first started routing this game, but we did find that, you know, we can stick with our normal shotgun because we're going to sell it regardless. Oops, hang on, 30 FPS to swap through this guy. Neato.
Silky smooth. And if you're wondering how FPS works like that, it's actually something that we transitioned over from 7 as well. Because that's a mechanic used there all the time. Less FPS, there's less hit and hurt boxes that are out, so stuff just kind of phases through itself a little bit. Split it squeezed by people, and more FPS, it works in the inverse as well.
Oh, hang on. I always forget to sell my shotgun here.
Porcelain dolls are very popular, you know.
And this is our first Duke stop, where we're basically going to pump up the power by a pipe bomb recipe and buy some pipes and some mines, because every lord you kill will give the Duke 1 mine and 1 pipe bomb for you to buy. So there's 2 available for us since we killed 2 lords. And now our sniper's upgraded until we're going to have it like this basically until the end of the game before we get to the very last boss. But that was that first Duke stop, and this is an alpha Lycan that we're just going to ignore and run around.
Yeah, so he's kind of technically a mini boss. You can fight him if you want to, but oh god, oh no. He actually might catch up to us. I hope he doesn't. Usually I shoot that fence because, you know, that fence is breakable, so you can just kind of shoot it as opposed to climbing over it, but he didn't get us. That's good. But yeah.
He's a spooky guy, and he'll like do this really long eating animation, which if you watch the alpha like it hit Ethan, you kind of wonder, like, how does he even survive that? Because the alpha like can actually just basically eats his stomach. It's really strange.
Yeah. But yeah, you can try and kill him if you want to. If not, I believe he's kind of lingering back in the village by like the church and all that stuff. I think so. I was gonna say I thought people like you can kill him for either like a lot of money, or some people kill him as a challenge or something. I thought I heard that.
Yep, no, that's true, because he spawns over by the church, and like you look at the map, and the map will tell you there's treasure over there, so everyone's like, ooh, treasure, and then that's how you like run into him, and it scares the hell out of you.
Yeah. And those like bat monsters from the castle are out there too, so it's always jarring revisiting places here, and then all of a sudden it's replaced with random monsters. So we are at the reservoir. We're on our way to visit Mural, one of the other lords. I have such a soft spot for Mural because, you know, he's kind of an interesting looking creature. He's like the less human out of all of them here, but all he wants is just his mom's approval and stuff. He loves his mom. He's just chilling over here watching movies and eating cheese and stuff like that. And we steal we steal his arm flask, and now he's sad we're leaving.
Yeah, this whole section, like, it's kind of weird to go from, like, you know, Donna Beneviento's house to this, because the whole cutscene you saw Mara skip, Ethan just basically sits there and taunts Moreau, and he's like, hey, thanks for the flask, and he just walks away. Like, it kind of basically goes down just like that, and then Moreau kind of loses it and super transforms and breaks the whole building down, basically. And it's very... Moreau is... super cool. Like, I personally, my favorite lord is one of the later ones, but Moreau is a funny guy, sort of, and he has a lot of very iconic voice lines that you will hear coming up.
Yeah.
And he's awesome.
I love him. He just needs a friend. And like, I'm not joking about him eating cheese. Like, if you look at the concept art in this game, because there's tons and tons of like concept art from here and 7 and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So with Moreau, he enjoys, he likes watching old romantic films, and he loves eating cheese. So I wasn't making that up.
I did not know that, but that is a mood.
Yeah. And I was saying, it's like, I can make him like a nice charcuterie board with like various cheeses and things like that. I hope he's a brie guy, because I love brie. And some figs. Ah, yes.
I could see you, Moreau, being besties for sure.
He, like I said, he just needs a friend. Alrighty, so funny enough, we're going through here, and all of a sudden a big fish monster pops out of nowhere. And I don't know about you all, when I first saw the trailer for this, I thought that's where the boss fight was going to happen, kind of similar to like RE4 Del Lago, where you're fighting Del Lago on a boat. So I was surprised that wasn't the case.
Yeah, a lot of us kind of thought that too, and it's interesting that didn't go that route, but the way they did go about it is pretty great. Also, you might have saw Mara skip a cutscene there. That cutscene kind of gives you the breakdown of what's going on here. Chris showed up again, and he's like, hey man, stop it. That was basically the whole conversation. Chris was yelling at Ethan. And now Moreau turned up, and he's all messed up and mad because we did something. We took his flask. That's right. And his mom's gonna be very upset that we took that from him. So this whole area is about traversing this whole underwater reservoir that's been like a big part of the village that's been destroyed that Moreau took over, and we have to get these two. I guess windmills spinning so we can get some power restored to close the reservoir. So you're going to see Mara run around crossing bridges very fast because she actually, this is another part of the game that has a one-shot mechanic. There are actually a bunch of them throughout the game. Whereas if Moreau touches you or if Moreau catches you while you're crossing bridges, you get eaten.
Yeah. So that one's pretty free. You can always get by there. This one you definitely can't get caught on if you don't get here quick enough, which is again pretty free. Just don't go slow or anything like that. But yeah, we kind of had to jump through a bunch of hoops and loops to get the power restored here. Definitely a bit like a maze for sure.
That's true, especially with because when I first played it, or when some of us play it casually the first time, you're not sure what happens when you get touched by Moreau, so you just kind of crossing bridges and stuff. But then these levers are where it really got spooky, because these levers are dangerous. These are basically rising levers that Mara's going to hit in a specific order and go across as fast as she can. So she loaded that checkpoint there to make that one come up instantly. So they come up, as you can see, for a limited amount of time. Orange raises orange, blue raises blue, etc. So she's going to do all this and then hit these ones right here in quick succession, and then cross the bridge and then hit another one here. Oh, actually, no, she's going gamer mode and she's running across.
Sorry, I was too slow.
That's basically what happens. The levers are unforgiving as hell. They're really brutal.
That was my fault. They are very unforgiving. Yeah, that sucks. That's okay.
Thankfully, that retries like right there, so it's like negligible in terms of where you're dying. This orange right here, the one that I thought she would hit. If you're doing it as fast as possible, you don't need to hit that one, but it's incredibly risky.
Yeah, I've done it before, but yeah, I'm. That's okay. I like to play it safe for these types of events. All right, wait. That's the best line in this whole game.
The greatest. It's literally the best line, and then this one too. He's like, he just starts saying everything. I'm the best line. It's so good. It's crazy to think, if you have played 7, that the voice actor for Moreau here is the same one for Lucas from Resident Evil 7. And that dude has range on him. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with how many different like you said ranges that different voice actors have. Lucas is one of the best characters. Well, he's definitely one of the most sinister characters in 7. I was gonna say he's one of the best characters in 7, but there's other ones I like better. Oh, and here's one of Ethan's like most funny lines in this whole game.
Caught myself a big one.
Wow.
It's just crazy. Like, Ethan has some one-liners in this one that are so weird, and it's like Ethan's change of character in this game is so crazy. This game actually has, like, Ethan was so well done in this game. Like, everyone loved it. Like, he says so many different things. He's way more confident, much more of a badass than he was like in 7, because that's kind of like he's been through military training now. So he's kind of used to it, I guess. But it's like super cool the way he turned out. He says a lot of weird stuff. There's another line coming up shortly. It's just, he just says okay, but it's in such a weird way.
Yeah. I love the way he says that too, because like in 7 he's definitely toned back a little bit. You know, he's kind of a regular normie guy and stuff like that. Does lack some emotion because even with everything Mia's doing to him and stuff and things, and the Baker family and all that, and the only noticeable emotion or lines he have are curse words. But yeah, in this game he's definitely amped it up a little bit more. I think he's just kind of over it.
it's how does he get over, like, it's crazy that he got over it, man. It's how do you even go on after what happens at the Baker house?
Yeah, so we can actually retry here. We don't, and let's see right there. It teleports us over here, and
okay,
there it is. Just so just matter of factly. It's so crazy. Little puzzle
Alrighty.
there. You two in the top left, two in the top middle, and then one in the bottom left, one in the bottom middle. That puzzle actually confused me so bad for like 2 months. I never learned how to properly do it because the orientation of the little guide is horizontal, so like it's super weird.
Oh yeah, I did clip through him. Good. Sometimes I don't. Alrighty, I'm gonna stay quiet.
All right, we got Mural here. This is the Mural boss fight. It's very execution heavy, so what Mara's gonna do is let a pipe bomb rip at a specific spot, and then start moving as it's about to the ground to stagger Mural in a specific spot, throw one behind him, one in front of him, and then equip 3 mines, drop 3 mines, and kill Mural instantly as he starts moving here. That's the end of the fight. That went exactly how it's supposed to go. And to explain a little bit about that is there's an explosive barrel behind Moreau. We need him to be staggered close enough to it. That's why you saw Mar throw a pipe behind his tail to hit that, and then one more in front of his face. The 3 mines actually need to be put in like that specific area or else they won't do full damage to Moreau. And that's that whole fight. That looks relatively simple, but my God, is it a headache.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the hardest boss fight in this entire game on every difficulty, literally every difficulty. On casual, it's certainly, it's like once you kind of get a hang of how to do it, it's easy in concept, but yeah, trying to execute it consistently can be a huge pain.
Oh yeah, and this is another elevator. This is the most notorious elevator for load times. Because you can see that little loading screen when Mar pauses there is brutal.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer there, the little loading circle. I feel like we don't have to like always pause here, but yeah, I always do just in case. I do a couple extra ones just in case.
Mm-hmm. Usually once you hit those planks there, when you start seeing the wood, that means the loading is stopped and you don't need to pause anymore.
Cool. Yeah, you were talking about, Capcom thought they were sneaky. What about in Resident Evil Revelations with those little, those doors?
Oh, my goodness.
The doors with the, what do you call the
helms?
The helms, yeah.
The wheels, yep. Resident Evil Revelations, that game, masterpiece if you haven't played it, by the way. But Revelations also has that problem where doors are loading screens. So there'll be times you have to like sit between 2 doors and wait for them to open. We can't do what they do in Village and pause through it because apparently like 10 years ago they thought ahead, and when you try to pause, it actually just loads. It just sits there and runs anyways. Now we got the grenade launcher too. We didn't want to route this item in for the longest time because we thought it was bad for the speedrun, but then it was proven that the grenade launcher is in fact overpowered. So we're going to be using that for a little while now. Yeah,
there's not a ton of rounds for it. At least just picking up at least the route that we take. There's not a ton of rounds on the way, but we're mainly going to be utilizing it in the factory for some important enemies and other obstacles there. But yeah, for now, I guess we'll use it for our upcoming boss fight here too. But yeah, it is quite a very handy weapon. Saves a bit of time than our old route for sure. So we didn't really get to see him, but there is a guy named, well, if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you'll probably, kind of chuckle here a little bit. There's a guy here named Heisenberg who's been taunting Ethan for quite a bit. We actually are introduced to him at the very beginning of the game. You saw where we skipped the cutscenes and we were introduced to the 4 lords and stuff. So Heisenberg was there. He's kind of this neat looking guy with a top hat and some sunglasses and all that stuff. So we, as you can guess, he is the 4th lord. And since we already destroyed the other 3 lords, he's the last one left. So yeah, he's just kind of he set up these like signs and traps and all these things, and we're on our way to the stronghold to kind of make our way to Heisenberg's last area. Oh my god, this guy's never here.
Well, that spooked me a little bit too. Caught me off guard.
I was gonna say sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not, but lately he has been. It's been scaring me.
Yeah, they jump around here, and normally like 9 times out of 10 a Lycan won't be there, but sometimes you'll just get bad RNG and the AI is like, let's go hang out over here, and it'll cut you off like that.
Yeah, sometimes he's like right there, like he's a little bit closer, like next to the sniper rounds, but that was like the first time that he was like I didn't see him at all until the last second. Like, that was spooky.
Nice little jump scare for us.
Yeah. So, kind of like to joke around, like, you know, speedrunning horror games or speedrunning Resident Evil games. It's like, yeah, after a while, I don't get scared. None of us get scared. But then when some things happen that aren't supposed to happen, then you're like, oh, wait. There you go.
It's the unexpected that gets us. Like, it's a whole new level of terrifying. Something that you didn't account for happens. I'm just gonna take this guy out with the sniper. Normally you could use other weapons, but that will get him out of the way instantly. Like, you don't want to use your grenade launcher shot and the pistol sucks. So just use the sniper and drop him instantly so he gets out of your way. Now this part is a massive pain.
Sorry.
That was very close.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes he grabs us, but I was like, okay, maybe if I don't look at him, we'll be fine.
Okay, big guy.
Scoot right past these guys. It just looks scarier than they actually are. You can actually just glide right through them. And now we're coming down here. I believe you pick up this metal scrap here if the routing hasn't changed.
Yep, I pick it up still.
Okay, yeah, because that is the first one. Okay, I remember now. Metal scrap is a important and rare, I guess, resource in the game because it's used for explosives, and we're gonna need them later.
Yeah, so technically, there's a metal scrap you can pick up in the castle, like in the dungeon cells and all that stuff. But there are 2 metal scraps in the factory, like on your route. So it's better just to pick up, you know, the 1 here in the stronghold and the 2 in the factory, so you don't have, because you kind of have to go out of your way a little bit for the 1 in the castle. So yeah, it's better to not pick that one up. All right. Urias, Hagrid, Muzzy, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, we got Hagrid here. In this fight, Mars basically going to open it up with a grenade launcher shot up top to hit Urias once, and then a couple sniper shots to get him when he comes down. Now, the placement of these shots is important. Mars is going to let a bunch of shots rip into his head. The next roar that Urias does is actually going to spawn a bunch of dudes, and we're going to want to skip that. So Mars is going to time this last shot here to be on his head, which is going to stagger him out of it, which negates it entirely, which is exactly what we want. She's going to dump a few more shots into Urias' head and bait him to this side. So it's about 3 shots, and then she's going to get moving, drop reload. And now a few more shots to Urias' head is actually going to kill him.
One more, hopefully. I wasn't looking at my... There it is.
Yep,
Good stuff.
Nice. Good job. Yeah, that fight can go really bad really fast if you don't know the timings of his shots while up top, because he roars. And the placement of the shots matters because it's a health percentage thing. So you want to time when he's hitting that health percent when he does that roar. So Mar executes it perfectly.
Nice. I saved 18 seconds on that split. Good stuff.
Let's go, dude.
Well, that's on this on this particular PB right here. But yeah, that was the 4th flask. That was the torso flask. We have all of them now, but yeah, that is all of them. Yeah, but yeah, technically this isn't the end of Heisenberg's place, because I did say how all those key items are at the end of each of the Lord's places, environments, whatnot. But we actually need we need all 4 of them to essentially go to Heisenberg's area and end game, etc.
Yeah, the factory is very interesting part of the run that you're going to see. Initially, very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
It had like very similar, I know we keep comparing to 7, but the game is similar to 7 in a tremendous amount of ways. It's very similar to how the boat was in 7, where it was kind of convoluted, kind of went to the same place a few times, so it was easy to get lost. The factory is no exception, but the factory is significantly harder than, in my opinion, the other areas, because the sheer enemy density is really high. On top of, the game also puts in door obstacles, and it's on a speedrun level, the enemies are brutal because they all have like Mortal Kombat finisher grabbing animations where they will like take 10 days, it feels like, to actually let you go. And yeah, this place was really brutal until we routed in the grenade launcher, which actually simplified a lot of it.
Yeah. So now we have this thing called the Giants Chalice, which it's a giant pillar, and how Ethan's able to carry this and transport it to you know, this other area we need to, it boggles my mind. That is why I have named this split, "Where does Ethan keep this?" Because he's walking normally.
It's huge. It's like the game even shows you like the bottle. It's like massive. Doesn't make any sense. It makes you think there might be something weird about Ethan.
yeah, the unbelievable strength, the ability of him to lose his limbs with no issue. Like, what is up with this guy?
He fixed his jacket with liquid. That's the crazy part. I mean, there's something definitely going on.
It's a shame we have to skip this cutscene because that part. I know I just brought up Game of Thrones. I'm even wearing my Game of Thrones dress today. Still a fan, even if folks are not a fan of how the last season was. But yeah, that part reminds me of like Dragonstone, that island, and all that stuff. Very beautiful, huge castle and environment on the water. Actually, I was about to say this is our last elevator loading screen, but I lied. There's one more left in the factory.
Is there? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, on your way to the Heisenberg boss fight.
Oh, yep, you are right.
Yeah.
I forget about that one all the time, but yeah, the elevator loads. That one, the Mar just did, is probably the most minor of all of them. But yeah, they're just sprinkled throughout. It's kind of annoying a little bit, but you know, at least we can pause through them.
True. Yeah, so here's the factory. Definitely. So what's another interesting thing about this area? It definitely feels way more different than the other areas of the game. Definitely the whole industrial, mechanical feel. I wouldn't say it seems out of place, but it's just interesting contrast to the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. Definitely seeing stuff you didn't see before. Like there was a tank out there. Like how did Heisenberg get a tank? Like he gets a whole bunch of stuff. It's very weird. Oh, Heisenberg is my favorite lord. He's very cool. Very easy to fall in love with the way that he speaks to Ethan and how he goes about all of this. It's super awesome.
He's a pretty cool guy. His voice actor is quite marvelous as well. Very expressive. Mm-hmm. So we don't get to see the cutscene, but Ethan was getting chased by this monster named Sturm. He's a crazy, hideous monster with a giant fan attached to his front. So yeah, not like the fan man from The Simpsons. Not like that nice guy. Excuse me, ledge? That's not the RNG ledge.
Yeah, that's the hardest boss in the game, is these ledges right here. As you can see.
Excuse me. I hate that, especially that one red one.
So bad, yeah. That one is like there's Mars not doing anything wrong there. In case you're wondering, there's nothing to do. You just have to run out the ledges. Those ones, I guess they just, I don't know. The junior dev team must have worked on those ones. It's
a very silly one. Because like I even encountered a ledge like that was hard, that it wouldn't let you go up it. I encountered that at Mural during my casual playthrough. Like when you get on the boat. And Ethan's like, I gotta get out of here and stuff. Like there was a ledge right there after you killed the goo, and I couldn't get up it. I was like, I can't get up. Am I doing something wrong? And then I died. And everyone in the chat was like, no, you were doing fine. The game was just being weird. So yeah, in the factory though, that particular part in that little trash heap, it's kind of silly.
Definitely brutal.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're on our way to get... So throughout here in the factory, we actually have to craft a couple keys, or key items, essentially, to progress forward. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to remember, does Heisenberg tell him like where these items are, or do we just... I guess we just kind of essentially figure it out as we make our way through, because I definitely got lost the first time I played this game.
Oh yeah, it's super, because basically you find the doors that need a certain key, and then you'll find the mold, and you're like, oh, then it makes sense. There's that room back behind where Mar just was, where there's like a mold making machine where you can make the keys and stuff, so it kind of pieces together. But finding out where to go back and forth, now that was the biggest pain.
Oh yeah.
And that retry right there you saw Mar do was to reset the enemies on the outside of the room so that they're not going to be in her way when she comes out, because otherwise they would be right here at this door, and it'd be a massive pain.
Yeah, so that guy who just woke up, he is a soldat. It's one of the, well, those types of enemies are essentially being manufactured here. They're super soldiers, essentially, with giant drills for arms, and there's quite a few variations of those guys throughout this whole factory. Thankfully, they do not go past a certain point, so they will not harass you in this room. That might not be the case here in a little bit.
Seems useful.
But yeah, we're just kind of essentially this entire time we're just essentially crafting key items, unlocking doors, crafting the next item, etc.
In this room, my least favorite personally. These pistons here, there's a timing to running through them all.
Oops, my bad.
And yeah, if you actually like are like a step too late at all, those things will hit you, not only going down but also coming up. They have a hitbox, so like you could get like stuck underneath it and get just clobbered. If those enemies like block it too, they also get hit by it. It's kind of funny. That also raises your DA.
Yeah, it's funny when you hear them get hit, but then you look at your DA score, you're like, oh no, stop.
You stop getting like, juke it like I did, man. It's not that hard. Come on.
All right, so remember I was talking about soldats and they're being manufactured? Well, there's a whole bunch right here. And I'm sure you were also like me when you play games like this, where you're like, oh, hey, if I pick up a key item, something happens, right? So yeah, guess what? We're gonna pick up a key item and something may happen.
They all look friendly. They're not moving.
Oh no, we didn't see that coming. Excuse me. Yeah, so remember how I said people don't come in here and harass you? Well, I lied. I never really know what to do with this guy though. I just kind of let him ring around the rosy a little bit, I guess. Sometimes I shoot him, but that doesn't... Well, you could shoot, like... Clearly you see they have weak spots and stuff there. But, yeah. Not a fan of these guys.
Mario, your microphone in Discord is muted.
How about now?
There we go. I was wondering, I checked and I was like, oh.
Yeah, my bad, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna, sometimes when I hit, like, the number keys, I really need to change what mutes on Discord. I meant to do that a while ago. Oh, when I do escape, that's when I accidentally hit my mute.
Okay. Oh, crap. Now this is where like, the grenade launcher becomes very useful, because we get to bust open these lights on this door here with one quick shot, instead of having to shoot each one individually. A strat we had before was to throw pipe bombs, and that was very unreliable. The grenade launcher is much easier.
To be her children. She locked us away in the village.
Yeah, you guys, for that particular door there, you guys, like, just... You guys do that real quick.
The pipe bomb for this door was a bit easier, because you just yeet it over the middle column there, and it would just pop it. But the grenade launchers, you just kind of quick turn, let it rip from that stair, which is also very risky, because you don't really get any spare ammo for this grenade launcher, unless you're very lucky on one item box, one openable, destroyable box before the elevator. But until then, I wouldn't really count on that.
Nah. Yeah, so at that part, if you tried to go forward, Mr. Fan Man will bust out of the wall, but since we know he's coming, we just immediately go to the left.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Basically. Alrighty. All's good so far.
Yeah, so far actually not bad. I mean, like, if you guys are just watching this, you could tell by, like, it feels like we've been all over the place in this factory. Now imagine if you haven't played it casually, how confusing it is to even get to right here. There's so many like different places. There's also a part Mar skipped where you could have turned on the elevator and gone up and down to 2 different levels, but that just adds a whole nother layer of confusion until like we're just like, as a speedrunner, when we learned it, we're like, thank God, man, we don't have to like get lost here anymore.
Yeah, I think we just really go on the 1st and 4th floors, I believe. I think that's it. But yeah, the entire time I played this game casually, I was busting up that map like every 2 minutes, because I'm like, okay, I'm right here, I need to get here, etc., and oh god, yeah, it was something. So yeah, no shame in doing that, folks. If you play this and you get lost, like, no shame. Just pull up your map, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, in this area, this big fan and 2 of my least favorite enemies in the game, called the Time Lost Twins, basically these guys are not fun at all.
Yeah, so we have another variation of soldats here, but now that instead of having giant screws or drills for arms, they still do have that, but they also have jetpacks now. They magically grew jetpacks, or AKA Heisenberg put them on them, so they're spawning here all over the place. Yeah, that's happening. But then, yeah, like Zeke said, we got 2 of them. They're gonna jump up right here in front of you. But if we get there in time, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh god, oh god, stop, stop, stop. Okay, yep.
Yeah, this is why they're called the Time Lost Twins. It's because they body block this ladder, and you have to wait for the fan to stop moving before you can actually get on the ladder.
Can you
They go
Can you stop?
hard,
Jesus.
man. They just hit you so many times, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And that animation you just saw Mark get hit through, Jesus, that thing is so long. It is like 10 seconds through that whole animation.
Yeah, where Ethan's like grabbing that drill with his hands, by the way. Jeez. Power hands.
Yeah. that is so uncomfortable to think about.
Yeah, that was my bad. I didn't get in front of that. I messed up getting in front of that ladder, but not just that. It's really weird getting in front of that ladder and trying to get up that ladder because that fan has to completely stop, and it's such a pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that room is super not fun. I even got to the point where I had to just start using the grenade launcher on them to keep them away from me.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Because, like, I usually save grenade launcher for Heisenberg. At least one round for Heisenberg. But,
yep.
Yeah, actually, when you were talking about the quick turn for the grenade launcher on that, like, door, I did miss hitting that the other day. So then I used a second round for that, which means I had no explosives for Heisenberg. For Heisenberg later. So that was sad.
Oh, yeah, that can be super brutal.
Remember when we said we're using the minimal amount of ammo and everything here? Well, the grenade launcher suffers the most for that.
Yeah, absolutely bare minimum. It's like when you play this game casually, you can pick up a whole bunch of different stuff to sell, like crystal skulls from enemies and stuff. But for every new item you pick up, you get an item confirmation, which basically stops the game, brings it up on your screen, and you hit F to confirm it. It's about like a 1 to 2 second time loss. So we do not, by any means, pick up any other items that we do not need to be picking up. And that includes basic treasures like gems and skulls on this difficulty, at least, where we don't need the money, since we're just going to sell all of our weapons and all the treasures we get from the bosses.
Take Rose? I'd like to see you try.
All right. RNG. We're going to get what are we going to get? Chem fluid. We don't want that.
Definitely did not want that, but no problem.
That's okay. Yeah, crates are crates are always going to be RNG, pretty much. They're always going to be RNG. I don't know where explosive. Well, I was going to say sometimes explosive rounds pop up near the stronghold in that one crate. But yeah, definitely that crate right there can be another one with our rounds. But it's okay. I have 2 rounds here for the soldats coming up, and then I'm going to save one for Heisenberg coming up.
Yeah, the next pairs of soldats are significantly worse than the rest of the soldats for more than a couple reasons, but they're very big.
Very, very big. They're gonna be. I call them the Guar boys, and you'll see why. Alrighty, so we're back here in this area that we were, when we first came to the factory, we were already here, but like Ethan said, it's dark. So we're at the same area, but it is darker. We got some of those big arm soldats that we first saw kind of lurking around the corners. Our 2 guys here. This one's going to be right in your... Oh, it's going to be right in your face there. But thankfully, 1 grenade to the face kills him. Yeah, I remember before I started routing in the grenade launcher, trying to maneuver this guy was a huge pain.
Alright, he's right there in front of your face. And back when we had the shotgun through here, it was really nice because we would just shoot him once, but then we routed it out. And like with the strictness of the grenade launcher shots, it kind of became a big pain again to deal with them.
Yeah. So remember how we said we got other soldats and then I call them the Guar boys? Well, what's that spark in there in the background? What is that?
Like a big
boy.
God.
Oh god, oh no. Oh wow, well that was easy.
I've never in my life seen anyone go that way around him and actually make it. That was crazy.
Well, he was facing the other way. I was like, well, I guess I'll go through here. But usually I go to his left, my right.
Yeah, that's like, these guys are brutal because like they're very big and they body block, and this was actually the first implementation of the FPS that we did in the run that we discovered, because it was like, how do we even get around these guys at all? Because they're just so huge.
Yeah. Very unforgiving to get around them too. So yeah, blocking, swapping to 30 FPS seems to do the trick. Whew,
that was pretty smooth. Good job.
Thanks. So, oh, we didn't even pay attention to the Duke kind of just sitting here. So you can, you know, kind of either upgrade weapons, buy stuff, etc. But, you know, and but you can't even talk to him while the elevator is moving. So that's kind of sad. All right, I'm going to stay quiet.
All right, we got Sturm coming up here. Sturm, similar to Moreau in terms of how the fight's executed. You're gonna watch Mar run up and trigger Sturm's spawn, and what she does is she's gonna drop 3 mines really fast by block canceling the animation of them. So she drops 3 and she's gonna jump into her inventory, craft some pipe bombs, and then she's gonna equip pipe bombs and wait a second, and then she's gonna let one rip and then drop 2 more underneath his feet. And he's gonna, sometimes that'll kill him, sometimes it won't. And it has a lot to do with how pipe bombs work, so 1 extra shot was required, but that's totally fine. The pipe bombs are very interesting, and they mostly impact this boss because it's directional blasting. So the pipe bombs have like a radius around them, where the full damage, if you take a majority of that radius, is what's gonna apply. Sturm takes less damage from anything that isn't the weak spot behind him. So sometimes the pipe will bounce in a certain way that'll put part of it in front of him or part of it to his side, which will nullify part of the damage, which is like actually one of the most frustrating things about that part, but otherwise a good recovery and fight went pretty well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, ideally you want to be sure you kill him with all 3 of those mines and all 3 pipe bombs. But yeah, since he didn't turn the way he was supposed to and the bomb didn't hit his weak spot like it should have, I had to use that one last sniper shot because his health, he only had like 9.3% health left. So yeah, the one sniper will do that for you. All right. Now to the most absurd part of this game, which most folks will say this isn't Resident Evil, but Resident Evil has always traditionally been filled with absurdity. So that's definitely going to come to fruition right here. It's going to turn into BattleBots. So
this is so fun.
Yeah, Ethan's on a tank with a chainsaw and machine gun type of thing because apparently Heisenberg is weak to whatever plasma cannon thing is here, so that'll do some damage to him. But oh my god, it is this fight's ridiculous. I remember the first time I played it, I was just laughing the whole time.
Oh, this fight, from the simple just absurdity of the fight itself to the voice lines, there's a lot going on here.
Oh no, I think I was supposed to swap to 30 before busting that, but it's okay. All right, 1 retry coming up. 1 more, there it is. Wait, am I still at 120? I am. I should have just looked back. Okay, we're good.
So Heisenberg here, Mark does this retry to spawn Heisenberg instantly. So the idea is Heisenberg has 3 weaknesses that spawn around his body, and they deplete and they respawn once all 3 have died. And they're in the same spots, 1 on his arm, 1 on the other arm, and 1 on like his stomach area below his chest. So you can see the sparks fly when Mar is hitting them. They're very big, glowy red spots. And what Mar is also doing is putting Heisenberg on a certain side of the map over there so that when she does kill him, he transitions, which is below 9,000 health, he'll instantly transition because you'll notice that when it happens, he's really slow. So like, see he's dead here, and we have to wait for him to get into the right spot, which he's actually pretty close to. You're gonna see him move so slow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I usually try not to... Oh, well, not too bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, this fight's a frame rate killer, by the way. This part, like here, and then a little bit later, it gets really extreme with like all the stuff on the screen.
Yeah. Oh no!
So you're gonna see Mar throw 1 pipe and then 2 more pipes to bring his health down a little bit. And
oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That sucks. Okay, 1 more shot, please. Thank you.
There you go.
That sucks.
What can happen there with the pipes is if you throw a pipe and it's one pipe is blowing up and you have another in the air, if it's too close to you, it's gonna chain explode and hit Ethan as well.
Yeah, and I feel like that doesn't do as much damage either, right?
Right, yeah, because it, I'm not sure if that second one even hit him at all because I think it exploded like way too far from him.
Yeah.
Which is just a risk that happens when you do the fight. This way, this is like the faster strat to doing the fight is using pipes on them and the grenade launcher, but the Heisenberg fight just in general is a big pushover. He's not that bad, even casually. Even on the hardest difficulty, Village of Shadows, it's just a longer fight. It's kind of hard to die to him. So yeah, this is still a good fight regardless.
Yeah, not too bad. It could have gone way worse. Like, what I mean by worse is that he can just, like, if he's too close to you in that first phase, he'll hit you, and that animation is long, and oh, such a pain.
Yeah, he'll charge around too. It's kind of silly.
Yeah. So Heisenberg's dead, and so one thing, yeah, I love his little statue here too. It looks really cool.
Oh yeah, it's super sick.
Yeah. So we get introduced to a couple cutscenes here, and unfortunately, since we get to skip them, we don't get to see the incredible, mind-blowing things that happen. So yeah, huge spoilers, by the way. So Miranda, the main enemy of this game, she pops up, and she takes Ethan's heart out. And he dies.
He dies.
He dies.
You can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes.
And also what you learn is that the reason that Chris and his team killed Mia at the beginning of the game was because that wasn't really Mia. That was actually Miranda who transformed herself into Mia. So, yeah, right there. They just said that. So, also in traditional Resident Evil fashion, we get to play as another character in a portion of the game. So we are playing as Mr. Chris Redfield right now in your Call of Duty simulator.
Actually, a Call of Duty simulator. This is crazy. Like, you
oh my
just have
God.
a running gun a lot, and the game gives you so much. Like, his inventory is filled with a bunch of grenades, way too much ammo.
Roger that.
Another pistol that's pretty badass, and he gets like a karambit knife. Like, this is like, you're actually running around and feeling so sick during this scene because you just have so much stuff that the game is giving you, because you're basically going through like a pretty big gauntlet here.
Yeah.
Kill a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and you also see this giant thing called the Mutamycete. It's essentially, so the main infection in Resident Evil 7 was the mold, like the E-type mold, and this is essentially where it originated, this particular infection right here called the Mutamycete. So that's essentially what our lords were infected with, kind of like a more advanced version of that called like the Kadu, I believe. I never knew how to pronounce that, if it was Kadu or Kado.
Roger.
I'm not sure either, but I mean, yeah, it's right. It's like they were basically gifted that power through Mother Miranda, and there's a lot of lore that gets stuff that we do skip a whole bunch of. But Mother Miranda is a very significant player in the whole entire franchise, like probably massively significant that you learn through notes later. But then this part we'll cover first that Mara's doing. She has to blow up this big tower. And this laser is questionable sometimes that she has to charge, because it will miss for no reason. You're looking right at it, it just disappears. But you need to do it 3 times. You have to wait for its like 30-second or 45-second cooldown until you can use it again. And if it misses, it will still make you wait. So that thing is a pain. But Mara's basically gonna throw some grenades and deal with some waves of Lycans here and time it so that she can get rid of the wave or like disorientate them with like a flash or anything. Right before she can use the laser again, so that she can get it off before the next wave spawns. And she can do that not once but twice. Yeah, that guy was schmooving a little too close.
Yeah.
And getting hit while you're charging it also will interrupt it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hold your horses. So this is my favorite thing to do with these guys. So we got a bunch of metal boys and all that stuff here. They're all coming. We're gonna ring around the Rosie a little bit. Ring around that Rosie a little bit. And, oh, did I not shoot that? Come on. There we go. And then I just like to wait right here.
The
There we go.
flashbangs are so overpowered. They're still blinded back there. It's crazy. They stay blinded for so long.
There we go.
I found a way. Good. Mega Mycete must be below.
Alrighty, so you think we're good to go? We are totally not. Remember Urias, Hagrid, Muzzy? Guess what? There's another one right here.
He is chilling, and now he's like super powerful.
Mega Mycete, huh?
So Mar's gonna let some grenades rip on him before he drops, and then when he comes to the ground, Mar's gonna let a flashbang go, which is going to blind him and give her easy access to his back, which is his weak spot. We need Urias to stagger at least one time, just like this. So now basically we're going to pump shots into his back, and because we're on casual, he will stay staggered basically the entire time because of just how much damage we're putting out. And he should die after about one more clip, I believe.
Yeah, one more. This one.
Yep, easy peasy, nicely done. And we need his treasure, so we're actually gonna do a retry here, which is gonna remove this wall and instantly spawn the treasure. And if we're in the right spot, the treasure should be directly in front of us, so it should pop up.
I hope so. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes like when I see a bit of like, because you know how you saw like a little bit of his mace and like animation next to us, sometimes like I've found like if he's like in any range of our sight, like that treasure won't spawn in front of you. But for the most part, yeah, if you're just right in front of that like door essentially, and you know retry, that treasure should be in front of you.
And now big baby mode.
That we don't get to see. Well, actually, yeah, it's right there. I didn't even look up at it because yeah, you could see it. That's the cause of literally everything here.
That is the Mega Mycete, and that's everything. That's the lore behind it is Mother Miranda found that because she went into a cave to die because she lost her daughter to the Spanish flu or something along those lines.
Yep.
And she wanted to bring her daughter back. The whole premise of this is to bring her daughter back. She needed the right vessel for it, and Rose is the right vessel because she's super powerful. And if you're wondering why, it's because of Ethan.
Yeah, and right there at the end of Chris's segment, when we shot that lock off the cell, that was Mia. We freed Mia. So Mia is actually alive and well, because, you know, Miranda transformed into her earlier, right? But yeah, she kept Mia captive throughout that whole time. Now we're here as Ethan. Let's see, we're kind of like in this purgatory, this cold purgatory. We can just stand here. You can keep walking, but essentially, you know, a cutscene will eventually trigger, and we get to see Evie from Resident Evil 7. And what she tells Ethan was that he died in Resident Evil 7. Like he's not alive, but here he is. He's basically half mold, half human, with all these superpowers. That's why he can regenerate, and he has super strength and all that sort of stuff.
It was a really good addition to it. Really tied things together because very important to know that Ethan is basically a super monster. And now we have the last Duke stop, which is the second one. Mara's going to sell a whole bunch of stuff and get a whole bunch of money, and she's going to upgrade the hell out of her sniper rifle, which is going to be power to the max, rate of fire max, and then ammo capacity and reload speed up as much as she would like. But usually you want ammo capacity to be a minimum of 10, and reload speed, what you have remainder of, you can drop into. But the idea is we're going to only use the sniper rifle to kill Mother Miranda, which is coming up. This fight is it's straightforward, but it's not at the same time. Mother Miranda has phases, and she transitions based on her health. And the idea is what Mar wants to do is she wants to kill Mother Miranda before she gets into her dark cycle and kill her immediately out of it before she goes into another transition. So you'll see her drop a bunch of shots on the boss in certain spots, and I'll kind of call these out as she's doing it, but she'll be shooting her in certain areas to avoid losing damage to like a blocked hit or something.
Yeah, getting the one cycle can be tough because her wings can eat the shots. But yeah, we're gonna do our best. All right, good luck, have fun.
You got it, gamer. All right, so she's basically gonna start this fight off by dropping a shot at Miranda's lower half of her body because her wings are covering her top half, and it's easier to get shots on her lower half, except for when she takes a flight like this, then it's easier to get a shot on her head. But when Mother Miranda's wings block a hit, it kind of adjusts how the fight's gonna go, like this. So we wanted to ideally skip this, but Mother Miranda's wing blocked the shot, so her health wasn't low enough to skip this phase. But it's no problem. It's a relatively straightforward recovery. She's gonna come back out of the dark phase after one or two more shots, and her health will be low enough to transition her to the next part of the fight.
That's unfortunate. She keeps hitting us.
Yeah, this
Come on,
part
lady.
of the fight really sucks.
There we go. Oops. I could have... There we go.
There you go.
That's unfortunate. It's okay.
Definitely unlucky with the wing. When the wing blocks a shot like that, it throws the whole thing off because then you can no longer transition her at the time that you wanted to. But this last part is scripted. you just kind of press left click into her a whole bunch, and you will kill her.
Yeah.
And time will be coming up when the cutscene starts.
Can she not? There we go. All right, and time. Whew.
Good job.
GG's.
Good run.
Yeah, not bad. It sucks that fight didn't go as planned, but a bunch of other stuff did go pretty well.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. Everything except falling in the water at Mural and then this fight, but I'd say everything else was pretty solid. Not too bad.
Agree.
Yeah, not too bad.
Oh,
right.
yeah, let's get this cutscene legally or I'm gonna cry. You know how it goes.
True. Okay, so what happens is so everything here disintegrates. Ethan's here. He barely has any energy. His daughter's right there. But he sacrifices himself, blows up the entire Megamycete there, and he's officially dead. And it's literally I cried when I played this. Like,
we all did, man.
like, I legit cried. It was very sad. Mia's here alive and everything. Rose is here alive. Ethan's a great dad. He's the best dad ever. End of this game here, end of this cutscene. This is a grown-up Rose wearing Ethan's jacket. She visits him at his grave, but then it's kind of hinted that she has superpowers of her own, perhaps. But yeah, GG's. In-game time here, the official runtime was 1:35:29, but RTA 1:42:40. Nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, SpeedGaming Live, for having us. This was my first time running this game in a marathon. I'm an avid Resident Evil 7 runner, and this is also one of my favorite runs. So thank you so much for letting me showcase that here for SpeedGaming Live. Also, huge thanks to Mr. Captain Ezekiel for that great commentary, super great, super technical commentary, which was great. So thank you, Zeke.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for inviting me on. You did great. If that was your first, I didn't know that was your first time running. You actually did a really good job.
Yeah, this is my first time running this in a marathon. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and be sure to stick around for all the awesome upcoming runs. Be sure to check out the other Speed Gaming channels here for all those awesome tournaments going on. And yeah, thank you.
GG.
GG.